Hey guys, this is Haley, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a huge update on my life. This is the second time I've tried to film this video because I feel like I'm just rambling and it's not making sense. So make sure that you grab a blanket, cuddle up on your bed, grab a snack, because this might be a long and rambly video. You guys wanted an update on why I haven't been filming for this video or for this YouTube channel, so I'm gonna do my best to try and update you guys on everything that's been going on. So one of the major things you may notice if you don't watch my other YouTube channel, you might not know, but I moved back home with my parents around July of 2018. I've been here just about a year. So the reason I moved home is honestly my physical health just kind of plummeted, which also explains why I haven't been filming for this YouTube channel, because I've just been so sick that, you know, keeping up with one YouTube channel was enough. So yeah, after my last vlogs that I was filming in around November of 2017, that was around when I got diagnosed with POTS. I started trialing a lot of medications. I got a lot of side effects from those medications. It took months and months to finally find the right medications for my body and the right ones that didn't cause too many side effects. So honestly, a lot of those months were spent just laying in bed because I was so sick I couldn't do anything else. I decided to move back home with my parents because of my declining health, also because there was no air conditioning in that home, and when you have POTS, you're extremely heat intolerant, so I was blacking out all the time. I wasn't able to just like walk around my house without feeling like I was going to die. It was just not a good situation. I also knew that, you know, there really wasn't anything left for me in this town. The reason I decided to move out and stay in the town I am currently is that I was working retail at a store called Hobby Lobby, and I worked there for about 9 months. But once my mental health and my physical health got too severe for me to keep working, honestly, there was nothing holding me here to this part of Wisconsin. Like, I've never made any friends here. I've lived here for 6 years. I moved up here around the age of 15. I am now 22. I made a couple of friends in high school, but you know, after high school, I'm not really in touch with them anymore. You know, there isn't a whole lot of people here. It's a very strong elderly community and a lot of tourists in the summertime, but like there isn't a ton of opportunities to make friends. And I just didn't really fit in the church I was going to. I had to drive 30 minutes there just to get there, and 30 minutes home, which is like an hour-long round trip. And with my health right now, I just can't wake up that early, drive that distance, and then come home and be able to function. Like, it was just too much for me, and there was no one there my age. I didn't connect with anyone, and honestly, I just didn't really see the point in staying in northern Wisconsin because, you know, if there's no one here and there's nothing keeping me here, I didn't understand why I was here. So basically, I decided if I wasn't gonna stay here long term, I should move out of the place I was in and move back home with my parents until I figured out where I wanted to live, what I wanted to do with my life, basically. So over the past year living with my parents, a lot has happened. First, December of 2018, I got a wheelchair, and for those of you guys not on my Instagram, you might be like, why the heck do you need a wheelchair? I can do a whole video on why I decided to get a wheelchair, how it helps me, all of that stuff. Long story short, I have a condition called POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And basically, this type of dysautonomia, when you are standing, your autonomic system doesn't work. So my blood pressure doesn't work properly, my heart rate doesn't work properly, my blood flow doesn't work properly. So basically, I just have a lot of disabling symptoms when I'm standing and walking. And it became severe where I wasn't able to go shopping anymore. Like, I would go in one store and literally have to sleep the entire day after I came home because it was so draining on my body to stand. It was just ruining my life. I tried to hang out with friends, go to the mall with my friends, and I literally would come home wanting to just cry because I couldn't keep up with my friends. I was so dizzy. I was falling over. I was just a mess, and I couldn't function anymore, and I started to say no to things. I started not being able to go places. I started not wanting to go places because I felt so miserable if I was standing or walking. It just became to the point that, you know, I thought a wheelchair might be helpful and it might help a lot with my fatigue after I came home from a place. Honestly, the benefits of using a wheelchair have been insane. I never thought a wheelchair would help me this much. I honestly was super nervous applying for a wheelchair because I was like, do I qualify? Like, will it even help me? And honestly, I don't think I would have done it if the friends around me wouldn't have said, yes, you need a wheelchair, you would benefit from a wheelchair. And I am so happy that I did. I've been able to do so many things the past like 6 months from owning a wheelchair that I would have never been able to do. I just went to the mall with a friend, and besides being like fatigued and having a migraine, which I couldn't help, I felt fine. Like, I could do it. I could actually go to the mall and have fun. Whereas a year ago when I went to the mall, I felt like crap the entire time. So I don't know, it's just been insane how much the wheelchair has helped me. Obviously, there's a lot of stigma around part-time wheelchair users. People don't understand why, if you can stand and you can walk, why you should be using a wheelchair. I think I kind of, before all having dysautonomia, probably would have assumed the same thing, but there's so many benefits for people who use wheelchairs part-time, and honestly, many wheelchair users are part-time wheelchair users. So anyways, that's the whole rant about my wheelchair. I'm super excited I have it, but there's some downfalls, of course. People stare at you, people wonder why you're in a wheelchair, people pay extra attention to you, which is really hard when you have anxiety. So another thing, I know I've focused a lot on my physical health, but that's mainly because it's been the most severe thing I've been dealing with recently. I know this channel has focused a lot on mental health and Tourette syndrome, and honestly, a little update on that is my anxiety and OCD has been really good since I went to Rogers Memorial Hospital, which, if you guys didn't know, I went to a hospital that specialized in OCD, and I was there for about 8 weeks, I believe. It helped me so much. Like, obviously, I still struggle every single day with OCD. I struggle every day with anxiety, but the tools that they taught me there have been priceless. Like, I've used them so much, and they do help me a lot. Obviously, since it's been a while since I've been there, I do feel like I don't always remember the tools that they gave me, and I need to keep up with that because it does really help me. So yeah, my anxiety and OCD have been pretty stable, which I'm so thankful about. My Tourette syndrome has been decent. Honestly, it hasn't been flaring up too much. I did have quite a big flare in my Tourette syndrome around February, I believe, like February and March. I don't really know what caused it. I honestly never really know. It just like gets really bad and then it gets better and gets really bad. So yeah, it also got bad a little bit in there because I was trying some ADHD medications for my ADHD. I've kind of settled on the fact that I probably won't be able to use medication for ADHD simply because it makes my Tourette syndrome so much worse that I'm not willing to do that. It just comes to the point where I'm ticking so much and ticking so constantly on the ADHD medication that even though my concentration is better, it's almost not better because I'm so distracted by ticking. So I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. My depression has been the thing that has been the hardest to deal with. I found out about a year ago that my depression was really dipping a lot every single month during my cycle, and it was honestly something I never really noticed before. I don't know if it was a new thing that just started or if it was always like this, but I realized that I was actually doing very decently after I got discharged from Rogers, but then every single month when I got my period, I would get really depressed. And not like just mild depression, kind of to the point where I was thinking thoughts like, I don't want to live anymore. And that's obviously not a good place to be. It's not a healthy place. If you are thinking those thoughts, please talk to someone. So that's when I talked to my doctor. I was like, hey, I've noticed this pattern that I'll feel really severely depressed for like a couple days during my cycle, and then I kind of seem to even out, and then it happens again. So what we decided on was to go on continuous birth control, which I didn't want to do. I just didn't want to be on hormones if I didn't have to be. It was a hard decision, but I did decide to try it because honestly, I didn't want to be super severely depressed if I didn't have to be. So I did try that out. It did seem to help. I recently, actually within the past 2 months, have switched to a new type of birth control, simply because the one before it was working, but I was still getting a little bit of those dips in my depression. So I did have switched to a new one. So far in the past 2 months, I feel like it is a lot better. I feel a lot more stable in my depression, which has been really great. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, you just had PMS, like it's normal. But I just want you to know that it is not normal to be thinking thoughts that you don't wanna live anymore. And if you are in that dark of a place where you are not wanting to live, you're basically unable to do something. I was basically on the couch sobbing, thinking those horrible thoughts and not being able to do anything. Like that's not just normal female hormones. Like that is something severe. So I would in the future like to look into a more natural way to control this. Maybe go to like a hormone doctor and try to like figure out if, you know, there's something wrong with my hormones and that's why I'm dipping so much each cycle. But honestly, I don't have the money for it. Those places are not covered by insurance, and I think it's about like $1,000 just for the initial appointment. And birth control is free. So it's working right now. When I have the money, I would like to kind of like dive into the behind the scenes on what's going on with my body. But yeah, so depression has been kind of a constant struggle the past year. It's been one of like the major things. And even on birth control, you know, I still have depression because I have major depressive disorder. It's something I'll probably struggle with my whole life. But it is definitely more controlled the past 3 months than it was like earlier. So I am very, very thankful for that. But depression has been a major struggle the past year. Another thing is that I got diagnosed with a new type of dysautonomia called autoimmune autonomic ganglionopathy. I'm not really good at pronouncing things, but basically it's called AAG. It's an autoimmune disorder that is a type of dysautonomia. I'm not super good at like describing it, but basically if you don't know what an autoimmune disorder is, it's basically where your own body kind of attacks your own body. It depends on what type of autoimmune disorder you have on like what it attacks or like what it affects. But basically mine is affecting my autonomic system, and the treatment for it is something called sub-Q IG, which stands for subcutaneous immunoglobulin. And I was actually on a sub-Q IG for 8 weeks. And around the 6 to 8 week mark, we started seeing like slight benefits, which was really great. However, sub-QIG is something you have to be on long term to see the full benefits. So it takes about 6 months to a year to see how much benefits you're actually gonna get off of this therapy. So it does take a long time to work. Around the 6 to 8 week marks, we did start seeing some of those benefits, which was really nice. However, my insurance company decided to deny me the treatment after they had approved me. I don't really understand what happened or how it all went down, but basically they denied me to continue treatment. And so now we're going through the whole appeal process, my doctors are trying to work with the insurance company to prove to them that I need to be on this therapy and that it's really beneficial for me. It's gonna really help me and all of this stuff. So yeah, it's been a struggle. Those types of things really stress me out and cause me a lot of anxiety. So I'm really glad my doctors have been working with me to try to, appeal that process and, figure that all out. But it has been quite stressful because I was so excited to be seeing benefits, and then to have it taken away was just really disappointing. So, but I do have hope, and I'm praying and crossing my fingers that we will get treatment again. It just might take a little bit. So in the major news, I am moving. I know I just talked about why I moved a year ago, but I am moving again. So like I mentioned before, I moved back home with my parents temporarily while I figured out what I wanted to do, like where I wanted to live, all of that stuff. And we decided that it would be best for me to move back to where I grew up. So it's not the same town I grew up in, it's about 30 minutes away, but it's basically where a lot of my family is. It's where my exotic veterinarian is. I have like doctors in that area, a couple doctors in that area, but I'll also be like 2 hours closer to my dysautonomia doctors, which is really great because I'm like 4 hours away right now. So it'll only be like a 2-hour drive to see my dysautonomia doctors, which is something I think I'll be able to drive myself to. Currently, my mom has to drive me because I don't drive well long distances. So yeah, my parents have decided to build a duplex in that town. They also wanted to live down there part-time because the place we live right now is awful in the winters. The winters are like way longer than they are just 2 hours south, and you know, they just struggle a lot living here in the winters. And my dad works from home and the internet here is terrible. So the internet down there will be high speed, normal internet. The strength of internet we have here is like just a little bit stronger than like dial-up, if you guys remember what dial-up is. Some days it doesn't work at all, some days it kind of works, so I don't know, but yeah, I'm really excited. We're building a duplex. I'll live on half. My parents will live in the other half during the winter, and then in the summers they'll still live here part-time. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I have a couple of friends in the area down there. I have a church that I used to go to when I lived there, like when I was younger. So I'm gonna start going to that church. There's a young adult group that I'm gonna be able to go to through the church. And I'm just really excited to like get plugged in and hopefully, you know, just like start living again. I feel like my life has been on hold for so long, basically since graduating high school. I graduated high school, I started getting a ton of mental health issues, and I honestly haven't done much since then. And I'm just so excited to be able to start living and like figuring out what I'm gonna do with my life. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. That's kind of where I'm at. I feel like I missed so much. Obviously, there's no way I can cover a 1.5 years of my life in one video. Yeah, that's kind of the update. If you guys have any questions about anything I've mentioned or anything in general, leave them down below. I'll try to answer them or maybe make a video on it. I would love to make a video on all about my wheelchair, maybe make a video specifically on why I got my wheelchair. I'd like to make a video on, I don't know, just like other things. And if you have any video requests, leave them down below. I'd love to see them. But yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was so, I don't even know what I said. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and go. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you very soon on a new video. Bye!